right, so we are back again for another episode. All right. Hey guys, welcome back to Conversations with Allieetoile. Thank you guys for joining me for the second time today. Unfortunately, our first guest could not make it. I just was able to get in contact with him, and we are going to reschedule. So for those of you who wanted to be able to see the talk with Maxfield Haynes of Complexions, that will be coming at a later date. And right now, I am pleased to introduce my very next guest, the lovely Melissa Chapski of formerly Dutch National Ballet, and soon, hopefully, when all this passes with coronavirus, she will be dancing in Munich with the Bayerische Staatsballett. So, in just a moment, oh, there she is, she's on here. I am going to add her in here, and we're going to begin. Let's see, connecting. There we go. Hi, Melissa. How are you? Hey, Melissa. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. Can everyone who's watching right now, thumbs up if you guys can hear us and see us okay. Fingers crossed. Oh, okay, there's a heart eyes. That looks good. Okay, awesome. Well, Melissa, welcome to Conversations with Allieetoile. I am so happy to have you be part of this. And yeah, I think that we're going to have an amazing conversation today. But to begin, I want to start, I do this every video, with a check-in for yourself and everyone who's watching this right now. How are we all doing? Thumbs up, smiley faces. I know this is a really difficult time. Very trying time for many of us, and so I think it's important to just check in, and I hope that everyone's doing okay. And Melissa, how are you? Obviously, are you and your loved ones doing well?
I'm okay. Yeah, I actually had a really good week. This was like our third week already since the theater has closed, and actually it's been 1 week since I was supposed to move to Germany,
Yeah.
which has been like a crazy mix up. But I don't know, my family's healthy, I'm healthy, a lot of my friends are fine, and a lot of them are
Good.
with their family. So it's good to see that everybody's, reconnecting with friends and family because it gets lost, when we're working so hard and
It does.
trying
It
to
so
push through.
does. Well, definitely. I mean, before we get into today's conversation, I want to pass the mic to you per se and let you, I mean, obviously, I'm sure many people who are watching this right are aware of who you are, the beautiful ballet dancer, beautiful person, but I want to let you talk a little about who you are, where you're dancing now or where you're going to be dancing in your case, and yeah, just a little bit about your current situation.
Oh, you're so sweet. I'm so happy to like have this conversation with you too because it's good to chat once in a while and
Yeah,
like we haven't
absolutely.
gotten together, so it's nice. Okay, so basically my name is Melissa Chapski. I'm originally from outside of Boston. I've been dancing for the past 5 seasons with the Dutch National Ballet in Amsterdam, which was such a wild ride. I mean, I started off in the junior company and it was my very first job. And I moved my way up. I joined the main company as an 11, my third year there. And then I was in the Corps de Ballet for 2 years, and it was amazing. And now, as of April 1st, which is going to be a little bit delayed, but I am supposed to join the Bayerische Staatsballett in Munich. And I'm really looking forward to joining because I've always loved German companies and German ballet, and I know that they really take care of their dancers and they really invest in having good repertoire. I mean, Bayerische has had such a good reputation for so long now, and they've have so much in their repertoire, and they're continuously adding every year.
Definitely.
So I'm really excited because they have two premieres next season. Cinderella by Christopher Wheeldon, which I've done this year or last year at Het National, and it's a really fun production. And then they also have a new choreography too, which will be interesting too.
Exciting. Well, I mean, you have so much to look forward to. Hopefully, when all of this comes to a conclusion, which I'm hoping is sooner rather than later, because this is definitely affecting us all. I mean, further than just the ballet community, this is a That's a crazy time. There's a lot of unknown, there's a lot of uncertainty. And so, with that being said, obviously I had some discussion topics that I wanted to be able to discuss with you, but I always have my computer set up here and I just have my screen just as like going crazy right now with all these people sending in amazing ideas. So I want to share some of those as well. But to begin, I think it would be good to talk a little bit about, obviously, we don't have access, not all of us have access to, a ballet studio. And so in many ways we are challenged to keeping ourselves physically moving, physically active. So what are you doing right now? Or what can you encourage those, even if they're not a dancer, what can we encourage people to do to, I'm a firm believer that a little bit of movement every day is something that's just good for the mind. It's good for the soul. It keeps us energized and it allows us to see, something different than just the same four walls, So what can you talk a little about what you're doing?
Well, when this all started, I kind of cold turkey was like, I need to just make a plan and I need to go from there.
Mm-hmm.
So the very first day that it happened, I immediately somehow envisioned myself running because runners are always really fit. And I've read so much about how healthy it is for the mind. And it's good to be outside running. The weather right now in Amsterdam is really amazing. It's like 55 degrees and sunny every day, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
But again, also as ballet dancers, we're inside like literally all day, all year. And that's a lot because it's so natural for a human being to be outside in the sun and get fresh air. So right away I was like, okay, I'm going to start running and I'll see how it goes. And that's all I could do. So basically I went out one day and I had this one point that I used to meet with one of my best friends, Amber, who actually used to be a ballet dancer as well. And she was here last year and we found this like really cute, like ferry point. And so I was like, I'll run to the ferry point, see if I need a breather and I'll run back. So every day I've been doing that. And it's about just over 3 kilometers. And it's pretty amazing how the speed I've gotten to running at has increased. And I feel so good doing it. I get up, I do it right when I wake up. And it's nice to like be in the fresh air and have something to work for every morning because I don't think of myself as a good runner either, which is, it's fine. Not all of us can be good runners, but it's something to work at and it's something to push my body too.
Definitely.
So I've been doing that whole thing and I do that Monday through Saturday every day. And our company, Het National has been very nice, including me while I'm stuck here and all the classes that we've had online and stuff. So on Zoom, which we're using, and it's a really great feature for anyone that needs to do conference calling. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, our Pilates trainer does a Zoom class from 10 to 10:45. And her name is Lila Kester. And she's really, the past few years, she's changed my dancing so drastically because everyone wonders what is Pilates. And Pilates is really your mind connecting to the deeper muscles in your body. And sometimes it's not like this crazy weight training program that people want, or yoga, which can be very meditative. It can also be really demanding. But for me, Pilates is connecting all these little things that are going wrong. And it's another way for my mind to view them.
Absolutely.
So like she's really good working with turnout. And for me, she's really helped me figure out how to activate my core. And a lot of the dancers log in every day, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we do it all together, which is really nice.
That's awesome.
And then my third thing that I've been lucky enough to do is I have a friend, Gary Feingold, who has a studio here, and it's about 20 minutes biking, which is also good activity. And everyone in Amsterdam bikes and it's social distancing. So it's also nice to be able to have that freedom of biking around, So after the Pilates class, I bike to Gary's studio, which I pay to rent every day. And I've been following Olga Afaranov's class from Royal Ballet's 2018 World Ballet Day.
Okay,
and I pretty much do that in full just from YouTube. And I have studio space, so I'm very lucky.
Definitely.
But it's been nice to work for myself and work on things that I feel have gotten lost and just be alone and do what I want to do. It's nice for me to be able to reconnect with myself and find the things I want. And for everyone else that is able to do dance classes during this break, it's really important for the mind to have tasks to accomplish, because I don't know, it reconnects with like a more human level inside of ourselves.
Yeah.
So having little in like one combination, plies, next combination, tendus, it's little achievements that we can muscularly and physically work through, and also mentally processing which the combinations we're doing. So I think it's nice to dance every day as well. I really enjoy it
Absolutely.
anyway.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting because all of the exercising and fitness things that you just mentioned, of course, it targets physicality. Of course, it targets being able to keep ourselves moving and active. But something very unique, which I want to tie into this next question, is it targets our mental well being, it targets our mental health. And obviously, this is just my opinion. And several of the other guests I've had on here have provided excellent insight to this as well. Ballet is physically demanding, but it's also very, very mentally demanding as well. And oftentimes, it's one of them definitely can weigh out the other, but it's interesting because most dancers find it easier to talk about the physical ailments that we're dealing with. Oh, my leg is just shot today, or I did something to my knee the other day, so I need to take it easy with jumps, whatever. It's easy to address those things. Why do you think it's so difficult? And why do you think maybe there's a bit of a stereotype or a stigma around dancers and not being so comfortable or willing to talk about if we're not doing 100% up here? I associate it personally with our work ethic and our dedication. We are so disciplined to just dive into that physical work and get that routine, which I definitely, when I was a younger dancer, that was just what I would do. It's just focus on what I'm doing and put the rest of it out of my mind. But as I've gotten older and as I've learned more about myself as a professional and being in this industry, we all, at some point later down the line, whether it's beginning, middle of your career, end of your career, it's going to happen. We're all going to experience the highs and lows. So, what for you personally, what's more? Is it the physical demand? Is it the mental demand? And also, what is your perspective on how that plays a part into our career?
Okay. I guess I'll start with the first part, comparing physical and mental demands for me,
Yeah.
because I think actually when I was in school at Ellison Ballet and when I was training with my teacher, Miss Forrest there, her and Mr. Ellison both taught me a lot about how much this career physically demands of you. And honestly, I learned pretty quickly because they really were strict with me. They were like, Melissa, if you want this to work out for you, you need to push yourself as hard as you can every day.
Mm-hmm.
And that was amazing. That it worked. I got my job and I still continue to physically exert myself as hard as I can. And I've accepted that as normal.
Sure.
Because I don't believe in settling for less. And I feel like I do have a lot to catch up on still. So I always work as hard as I can. I just can't stomach not working hard enough. It's one of my personality features, I guess. But then for the mental side of it, I guess because of that natural decision to work as hard as I can every day, there are things that I definitely overlook. For example, like the beginning of 2020, I started auditioning a lot. And like I was just worn out. And sometimes it wouldn't even be totally physically worn out, but it would be more like the traveling and the stress and having to prove myself to people over and over. And it's like eventually you get exhausted and you just like need a minute to reconnect with your inner self. And to be completely honest, that's something that I'm actually loving about this quarantine, which feels uncomfortable to say because there's so much bad happening in the world that I don't want to use it as a positive for myself. But I've decided to take the time to work for myself and to reconnect with things that I like outside of dance, because this is my chance to be a normal human being for once. And dancers, like, we are always on. We're always on call. We barely have holidays. Even over the summer, it's like, oh, stay in shape, don't gain weight, don't come back and get injured, all these like threats we have inside our head. But actually now we literally have what? We're going to have about 2 months off. Who knows? Maybe less, maybe more, but I don't know, 6 weeks. And for now, like, I go outside and I run, and sure, I'm still dancing, but I'm dancing for my own enjoyment. And
Mm-hmm.
it's all the things I want to do. I pick the class, I pick the music. I mean, this morning I did my foot warm up to Elvis Presley, and then I'm playing the Beach Boys in my break to put my things
I love it. I love that.
um, but then also like going on walks and just smiling at people and taking the time to call friends on walks. I talk to my mom every day and like I miss her so much. So it's nice to be able to be there for her too and connect with her. Um, what else have we been doing? Like trying out new recipes and cooking things that take a long time to cook that you have the energy to make, you know? And then just like being able to hang out with friends and lay on the floor and talk about like clothes and boys and dream vacations and, you know, normal human
Yeah.
stuff. It's nice to be a normal human for once, really.
Definitely. You know, and I want to quickly tag onto that. I think this is a question maybe coming from a parent. Someone is asking basically, you know, dancers have to make a lot of sacrifices. We have to give up a lot of the, or what's the word I'm looking for? Societal norms, you know, that maybe we would have if we were going to traditional schooling like high school and, you know what I'm getting at. You know, obviously, we many dancers choose to homeschool themselves or make changes to their everyday routine so that they can dedicate more time to ballet. And so basically, if they're asking, because we have an irregular life pattern and irregular surroundings, you know, do you feel socially deprived? Do you feel like you're missing out on some of those maybe normal activities or normal kid things that people would do? If, you know, we're in our early 20s here, you know, we would be potentially in university right now, getting a college experience with people and life and things like that. You know, do you regret the decisions at all? Are there things that you wish you could experience if you didn't go the ballet route? And of course, for dancers who are in that place, maybe where they're deciding, should I do this like seriously and pursue it, or should I maybe look towards dancing in a college type atmosphere? What could you talk about that would help maybe someone influence their decision, or talk about your own experience? You know, how did you make that decision to dive into this knowing that there's going to be so many things that we have to miss out on?
Sure. Well, the first thing that came to mind with the original question was just how everything in life, whether you're a ballet dancer, whether you're a doctor, whatever you want to be, everything is revolves around balance, you know? And with our crazy exertion and crazy work hours and like everything we're put through, it's all about balance. Because for example, if I felt like I was missing out on something, I'm very true to myself, so I think I wouldn't be able to withstand this art form. I would know that something's missing and I would have to quit and I would have to find out what that is. But since I have a balance, I know that nothing is missing. Otherwise, I would feel it.
Sure.
I get to go home and like be with my family in the summers, go to the beach and go to Red Sox games in Boston. And then I'm like running around doing galas and I love that. That's amazing. Like I don't feel like I want to be in college partying every day and drinking. That's not something that suits me and it's not something that I feel like I miss. And I
Mm-hmm.
understand that people have fun doing that and that's great. But right now I love ballet so much that it's okay and I make it work. Like I make time to see my family and I make time to travel and run around the city here and explore Europe, you know, all the things
Definitely.
that are important. I think also I might be, after like speaking with a lot of friends about our childhoods, maybe I'm kind of an exception because I actually didn't leave public high school until I was 16, which is super late for a ballet dancer. And it also means that I did have a normal childhood. Like I remember so clearly in middle school from ages like what, 11 to 14 ish. I was with my friends every day having sleepovers, like literally like maybe 5 days a week. We would go to the beach houses together in the summer and we were all on a team together and go shopping all the time. It was, you know, it was a very normal childhood. So I did get a taste of that. And then I went to ballet school and I fell fully in love with it and knew it's what I had to do. And then again, with the question about missing out on things, I I don't know what will happen because things change every year, you know. But for the past couple years, I've kind of decided that after school, after ballet career, I want to go back to school.
Amazing.
Um, and I kind of think that I want to accomplish my undergraduate degree during my ballet career. I don't know how possible it is. I've started looking into it, but I mean, it depends how big your dreams are, because there is a thought in my head that thinks that I want to go to Harvard Medical School, which I know everybody says, oh, you're crazy. It takes so long to get a medical degree and whatever. But if you have a passion, you do it. I mean, I'm
Absolutely.
family at 16. Of course, like that was scary too, but
Yeah. No, it's funny that you mentioned that because earlier in the conversation I had, well, unfortunately, my guest wasn't able to make it for the first conversation, but we were talking and someone was asking, what's something about me that maybe people don't know. And I said, if I wasn't a dancer, I would want to be a cardiothoracic pediatric surgeon. Like, I would love to study medicine. I'm such a
yeah.
nerd about that. So hearing that another dancer is interested in pursuing a career that's totally removed from ballet, I think it's healthy. I think it's normal. I think it's good to be able to normalize that, yes, we can be so dedicated and so committed to our jobs right now, but it's important to be able to have other interests outside of this. It's like you said, having a balance, of course, we're Allie the ballerina, Melissa the ballerina, but it doesn't define us. It's not all of who we are. It's just a big part of us. It's a big part of our life that we care deeply, deeply about. But, like there is life outside of ballet. Look at us right now. So I just wanted to highlight that, and I think that that's a very, very relevant and very important thing to keep in mind. And so I wanted to touch a little bit more. Someone wrote in a question, but I want to start off with just prerequisite to that is saying, obviously, this is a time where there's a lot of anxiety. We just don't know. There's a lot of fear of the unknown. And so I'm going to use your personal example with this. You are currently in transition from one company to another. I've been in 2 companies now, so I've been in that place of starting at one and about to be in the other, and it's a bit scary. It's a bit like, oh gosh, am I going to like it just as much? Am I going to fit in? There's a lot of those questions that we can feel. And for those dancers who are about to join a company for the first time, I think you ask yourself kind of the similar things. Am I going to fit in? Am I going to like it? Am I going to do well or hope to do well? And so what can you talk about, what is your mindset on some of those insecurities or those little voices that we hear in our head that make us think like, oh, go down that rabbit hole of all the what ifs?
Well, to be entirely honest, I really haven't been fretting about it so much as I have been excited
Sure.
for something new, because I'm ready for a new page to turn. And I've really learned over the last 2 years, compared to my younger self, how important it is to be sure of what you're doing and to not let people push you down.
That's amazing.
Um,
Yeah.
and well, I don't know how to explain it though, because it's not something that you can just tell people like, learn to be happy with yourself. Like you kind of get thrown these situations and then you navigate your way, and during audition time, you have to make decisions and say like, who am I? What do I want to show as Melissa Chapski, the ballerina,
Sure.
Um, I feel like I've had enough time to decide who I am, what I want, and I'm going to go. I'm going to present myself as well as I can, do what I do what I normally do, entirely be myself. And if they don't like that, then that's not my fault, because I'm doing the best I can. I'm showing the best that I can.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not that they're interested in, it just means that it's not the right place for me. So
Definitely.
there's nothing to change it. Um, and that's another thing that I've been really excited about during this quarantine, going to ballet class every day, is like I can make those decisions on my own time with nobody yelling at me or telling me what to do, which is cool, because it's like I have like time paused to sort out how I want to be as a dancer in Munich and re-find things that might have gotten lost in the past couple of years or something.
Sure. No,
It's kind of a
that's an amazing perspective to have. I think this is a great time because it feels like the world is put on pause to take a step back from the studio, from the stage, take a step in front of the mirror and look at yourself and identify those things. When I come out of this, what do I want to keep working towards? I think that's so relevant in more ways than one, whether we want to work on ourselves as people or as artists. I think, again, we talked about balance. It's the full circle because, as you know, our job isn't the 9 to 5. It's a lifestyle. It's something that we take home, we wake up to, we go to sleep with. I mean, it's an all-encompassing art form. So I mean, especially like, I couldn't agree more with what you're saying. And this is a great opportunity to explore those areas within yourself. And if you're not sure where to start, social media is our best friend right now. Go on and see what other people are doing. Try a course, read a book, watch a video, and get inspired and allow yourself to find those opportunities and find those avenues, because in some way, shape, or form, it can all help you on stage. It can help create a new life experience that maybe you haven't had yet, or maybe you haven't been exposed to. So I think that was beautifully said, and I think it's a wonderful perspective to have. And this is very interesting. I know it's a slightly off topic, but somebody wrote in, and this is something I think that's very important. I did speak with a couple male guests who were on here about this, but I want to broach this topic with you as well. Obviously, body types in ballet. There is.
There we go.
Yeah. So there is a big umbrella over what the female ballet body looks like, and over time that has evolved and changed so much. And for the girls especially, I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say, it's crazy what we do. We stand in front of a mirror all day, every day, and we try and find what's wrong with ourselves. That's really difficult. And especially think about it, like we're, like you had mentioned, we're beginning that serious training at a very, very tender age in our teens, where obviously we're growing, we're maturing, and our bodies are changing rapidly. And one day you're trying to balance and passe, and everything feels different. It looks different, it feels different, things aren't working out, and that can really get us in our heads. And even as a professional, like, I'm still looking and trying to find things like, okay, what can we improve upon? What are your thoughts on body image with dancers? And of course, how can we stay healthy about that? Because I know it's something that not everyone talks about, because it is something that is oftentimes viewed as very negative or very, it's a very delicate topic.
Yeah, I think my first viewpoint on this topic that I would love to express to just like the entire ballet community is, I wish that people felt more comfortable speaking about it, because I think that you can solve so much from being open about it. For example, I'm going to say this publicly. I was told to lose weight at my ballet company a couple years ago. And I was always taught in school. I mean, at Ellison, we had a really healthy image on bodies and weight, and it was a great environment to grow up in. So I think that mentally stabilized me more than a lot of other dancers. But when I was told to lose weight, it was like, has to go now. It was like, you need to just do it. And I had never heard anything like this, so I had no idea what to do. But me being the person I am, I went out and I just started talking to everybody about it, not complaining or being negative. I was like, this is a task that needs to be handled. If that's what they want, I'm going to do it in a healthy way. I'm going to learn as much about it as I can, and I'm going to see how it goes. I mean, if you try healthily to lose weight and you can't, that's something that you can't fix. You can't just automatically force yourself to lose weight. That's not a possibility. And it's not healthy, and it's not durable for the career. So I just started researching. I talked to as many people as I could that dealt with this kind of thing. One of my best friends, her mom is a nutritionist. I spoke to her. I just wanted to make sure I was taking care of myself,
Sure.
because there's so much false information online too. And you see everybody else's bodies and you're like, oh, I want to look like that, or I should look like that. And it's like, you just can't compare yourself, because everybody has different body types. And, me, for example, like, people always say, oh, the legs and feet, I wish I had those legs and feet. But it's like, there's a lot I wasn't born with. I wasn't born with turnout at all. I wasn't born with muscle toning abilities, and that was a big issue for my company. And the problem is like, sorry, but I can't change that. You know, I can try and I can work as hard as I can and eat healthily and eat enough, you know, but
Sure.
at the same time, like there's only so much you can do. I was actually just speaking to some of my friends here earlier about this beautiful dancer, a friend of mine who's American. I'm not going to say her name, but she dances in Pacific Northwest Ballet, and she has these gorgeous lines. She's so strong, very artistic, and she's super young, and she does super well there because she's got it all. I mean, she's a muscly type of dancer, and I'm sure some directors would see her and say, "Oh, but you have too much muscle." But it's like, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for the demands of this art form. If you're looking for all of these attributes, you need to be accepting of what it takes to get them. I mean, it's getting a little crazy, I think, people and their ideas of what bodies should look like, because you need crazy muscles to do these feats. I mean, jumps, and we just did this balancing program. We did a ballet called Ballet Imperial.
Mm-hmm.
And that was insane. I mean, you need crazy muscles, literally.
Yeah.
And this girl, she had beautiful legs and feet and muscles, and it's like, that's what you want to see. You want to see strong, healthy dancers, because what's the point of seeing a dancer perform a crazy feat without any muscles to back up their work? It just doesn't really make sense to me.
Absolutely.
You know, like how can a crazy split like this? It's not, it doesn't add up personally, but
Definitely.
I think the ballet world evolve a bit, and because you know, we're born with what we got. And if you love ballet and if you're good at ballet, I mean, people should be accepting of that, I think, a bit more.
Absolutely. No, I think that's a wonderful mindset. And someone just wrote in, I want to quickly address this, I'm a dancer in a vocational school. However, I have an incredibly bad range of turnout, and I fear this will stop me from being successful in the future, and it leads me to compare myself to others. Okay, so I want to tag on to what Melissa just said, and of course, I want to get your thoughts on this as well, Melissa. We have to work with what we have, and let's point out the obvious here. If we're just looking at our bodies from the anatomy standpoint, we're not built to be doing ballet. Everything that we do goes against the normal range of motion and the normal type of movement that humans should be doing, So that already in itself is just mind-blowing. Now, number 2 to that for me is we are always constantly working on improving things. But I'm of the firm mindset that you cannot change your bones. You just can't. And again, maybe some people have the super crazy feet or the super, 180-degree turnout, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to not be a good dancer or that you're going to be compared to others, because part of what makes an artist, if we look at some of the most incredible artists today, we're not necessarily looking at their feet or their turnout when we're dancing. We're looking at who they are, who they portray on stage. One of my favorite examples to use was a mentor of mine, Julie Kent, who's now the artistic director of Washington Ballet. One of the most amazing things that I can take away from watching her is if you're watching a video, you could cut off her legs altogether and just watch her upper body and be absolutely mesmerized. And, of course, she is someone who has a beautiful facility. I won't deny it. But for the majority of the audience, you're looking at the story. You're looking to be transported somewhere that real life doesn't take us. That's why people come to the ballet. It's an escape. And so don't let your strengths or your weaknesses determine how well you think you're going to be, or how good of a dancer you're going to be. We all have things. I mean, even the stars of today, even dancers in professional companies, we all have things that we want to work to better in ourselves and use those things to make you unique. I don't know, Melissa, what do you think? Or what are your personal thoughts on that?
I think you covered a lot of good bases. That's a really good point. Because somehow when you're in school, also you have this idea that once you reach a company level, like improvement stops and you're automatically good enough and things are fine. Actually, like when I joined a company, I had to work even harder because you don't have normal training every day. It's like class, and then you go into rehearsals and it's like go time. And yeah, for me also, like, turnout was always a huge issue. And I've had my director say to me a couple times, actually, like, we don't know if you have enough turnout for this company, you know, like, it's tricky. But then, I mean, there are other dancers that also don't have a lot of turnout and they make it work.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite examples of a dancer that wasn't blessed with everything is one of my best friends, actually, Lexi Marks. She's probably laughing listening to this, actually. But like, she wasn't born with crazy feet or crazy legs, but she is really one of my favorite people to watch on stage because she always tells me, I'll watch her do a combination and I'll say, like, oh my God, you need to teach me how you do it like that, because she cheats so well. She says, she's like, oh, it's all fake. But I mean, real dancing isn't fake. She has all the artistry. She understands coordination. She has crazy lines and she's really strong, but she makes everything work. She wasn't blessed with a natural jump, but she looks like she has a jump because she found it for herself. And then also the way her legs are built, she figured out how to turn out even though she doesn't have it. It's amazing. So to say to you who think that you don't have enough turnout for this career, there are ways around it. You can definitely find them. It just takes a lot of work and a lot of, I think, like, mental clicks. So it's not something you can force yourself to do in a day. Sometimes it's just going to happen one day and then you'll realize, I don't know. For me, I'm still trying to find those mental clicks, but I've been dancing professionally now for 5 years. So
Yeah, no, I mean, and honestly, it's those things that this is a career where you're never going to stop working until the day that you retire. So don't feel stressed and don't feel the need that I have to be able to be doing this tomorrow or next week or next month, because it doesn't work that way. We work on our technique, we work on our skill set on a daily basis because there is no final destination of how good you should be. It's how good you want to continue to be. That's at least my philosophy. And, you know, again, talking about one last subject on body type, someone wrote in, obviously, you know, again, we can't change our body shape. Is it true? Is it false? You know, obviously, again, I think I said this earlier, we can't change our bones. But of course, if you want to make a change to your body, I encourage you to talk to someone who is maybe a teacher, maybe a coach, maybe an artistic director or a staff member, and get healthy and well-advised advice for how you want to do that. If you're someone who wants to build more muscle, or if you want to try and increase your flexibility, these are all attainable goals. These are all things that we can continue to improve upon, but I can't stress enough, there have been so many dancers who have wrote into me and are like, I can't seem to do this, I can't seem to do that. What do I do? What am I doing wrong? I think the whole approach just comes from why are you doing it and how are you doing it, which I think is a major component, because ballet is not something, and this is a crazy, silly analogy, but I'm stealing this from one of my trainers. He's like, Allie, ballet is very similar to food. You can do a microwave meal and make it in 2 minutes and it's okay, or you can cook something in the oven for, you know, several hours and take it out and have it be just the most gourmet deluxe thing in the entire world. You know, it's just about the time and the effort that you put into it. And I know it's a silly analogy, but it's true. It's true. I mean, what you put into it is what you will get out of it. And I think that just going about it in a healthy and a smart way, and of course a way that you have someone guiding you with knowledge and expertise to do that healthfully, is very, very important.
I'm really glad that you used that analogy, actually, Allie, because I was going to add to this that time is really one of the most important things. I mean, there's so much bad stuff to read online about body changing and dieting and whatever. And the most important thing to remember is that your body just needs time. You can't do anything quickly. Even if a director tells you you need to do this within a week, within 3 weeks, I want to see results. It's like, everybody's body is different and you can't demand your body to change that quickly. It's not safe, it's not healthy, and it's not possible. I mean, you can push your limits, that's fine, but as long as you're doing everything in a healthy way, that's the most important part. Also building muscle, losing weight. It's months worth of work minimum.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. You know, and I want it's funny, you mentioned the keyword time here. I want to tie this into the next topic. Time is not something we have on our side in this career. It's a short one, and it
That's
can
very good.
it can be even shorter if we get injuries, if we take personal time off. And look at right now. This is something that none of us asked for, and we are sitting here talking about it. You know, this is stressful for a lot of people. You know, you have pre-professional students who are, again, trying to get a job at this point, and they don't know when they're going to be able to. Of course, there's dancers who are in companies already who are missing out on the ability to potentially dance certain roles, or maybe even missing an opportunity where they could have been promoted. You know, obviously there's all these scenarios that could have been if we were still working right now. What can you talk about with keeping, again, being mindful of, in light of this situation, of course, but just in general, the time frame of a dancer's career? What helps you pass that time effectively, you know, being able to work consciously and, you know, working towards obviously that goal, but of course, you know, doing it in a way where we're not stressed about, oh, I have to be in a company by this age, I have to be a soloist by, you know, whatever, 25, you know, I have to be a principal by 30, you know, you know, because obviously there's a lot of goals. I think every dancer wants to be able to get to that pinnacle of their career. Not all of us do, and that's hard, but you know, we have a very short window, and it's sometimes uncomfortable to talk about, yeah, you know, it's not always as long as we want it to be, and it's not always fulfilling to the degree we want to be fulfilled.
Sure. So this was actually something that I realized only when I got to the main company. And I was in the junior company here for 2 years, and our juniors are known to do just like a crazy amount of repertoire all the time because we have our own touring programs, and then we also work with the main company in big productions. And when I was in junior company, I was really pushed. I was given a lot of work and a lot of dancing, and I absolutely loved it. But some things were easier for me than others, of course, as with anything. My second year, I was given the opportunity to dance Corsair pas de deux, second cast, which meant a lot of extra work because second casts don't get as much rehearsal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also not a natural turner, so doing Corsair was really difficult for me. And I used to get to the point where I would be like so frustrated that I didn't even enjoy it. And then I got only 2 shows, and I was so nervous and so scared that it wouldn't go well after all that work that I just like freaked out.
Sure.
And that was the point in time that actually really made me realize that, you know, this career is so short and we need to enjoy every day of it. Because if we get opportunities, like, you work as hard as you can and you do as well as you can. And if you fail, you didn't fail because you worked so hard. That's your reward, you know, and you did it on stage. Like, you did the best you could. That's all you can do. And nothing ever goes perfectly. Mr. Allison used to tell me this. Like, he said in his 20 years career, he had 2 perfect shows, and that was it. Because nothing ever goes perfectly. We're only human, you know, we do the best we can.
Absolutely.
And these past couple of years in the main company, since I'm new in the main company, it's a little bit, you know, it's slow when you join a main company because it's big. And then you realize every opportunity you get, you have to take advantage of and just enjoy as much as you can, because the years go by and the years go by. And now it's been 5 years. And assuming that a ballerina's career is an average of what, maybe 20, usually less, usually around 15. Like, I'm moving on to my next company now, and it's going to be my 6th year dancing professionally next year. But I have learned that I'm not just given everything. I have to work for what I get. And once I get it, it's so rewarding to dance. I mean, we just did a run of Giselle here. And I only danced in the core, not only because dancing in the core is fucking amazing. Like, it's so fun. And, you know, we get to dance. You get to do steps, doing willies with 23 other women. It's incredible.
Yeah.
The choreography is so empowering, you know?
Definitely.
It's a privilege. It's a privilege to be on stage with all those other women. You know, I don't know. People that don't get as much love from it or don't realize how exciting this is, I think they're in the wrong profession sometimes because
Yeah.
really, I mean, we work so hard and we're so lucky to get these opportunities. And then doing something like Giselle, it's such a classic, and you're in these beautiful costumes and you're dancing the most elegant port de bras. And oh my gosh, it's fantastic. And you're never going to get to do it all the time. Giselle only
Sure.
comes around every couple of years, so you never know when you're going to get to do it again. I don't
Absolutely.
know. I get really attached to ballets too. Like last year we did Swan Lake and it was a lot of work, but I loved it because you're on stage like the whole time and dancing too. So it's nice. And then one day it's all going to be over and you're going to love all of it. And then you move on to the next step.
Definitely. No, I think it's amazing the way that you're able to talk about your love for this, because we know that there is at some point going to be a day where we can't be on stage, and just being able to really, again, this is a career that is just too hard to do if you don't really love everything about it. I know that I definitely wouldn't want to do ballet if I didn't love it, because it takes a lot of hard work. I'm not going to deny it, you guys. There are days when I walk into the studio and I'm just like, here we go again. But as soon as I get going, it just snaps me out of it, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I just needed that little, come on, wakey, wakey. But yeah, someone wrote a really interesting question. They said, before this video, I only knew you as ballerina. Is it ballerina Chi? Is that how you say? Chai, ballerina
Yeah.
Chai, Chi Chai, I don't know. Everyone probably says it differently. On Instagram, how important do you think it is to be active or vocal on social media? Obviously you have an amazing following, a lot of people who are interested in what you're doing and supporters. I think that's fantastic. But do you think it's something that we need to do to be a successful dancer, or is it just an outlet? Of course, it's funny because just a second ago, I'm personally someone. Just a year ago, I went an entire year without a phone. I didn't have any social media, no email, no text, no nothing. Like, if you wanted to get a hold of me, you had to call my family, because that was it. And even now, like, on the other side of it, like, when you guys see this episode on YouTube, you're going to see the pop-up on my screen. I've spent 2 hours and 30 minutes on my social media, and I put a timer on there, so I know, like, that's enough. And so that, personally for me, I try to keep my head out of the clouds per se, and just look around with what's around me, my people, my peers. But again, right now, I've been so dependent on it, because that's the only way I'm really being able to connect with people and keep in touch and keep myself somewhat entertained with what's going on. So yeah, what are your thoughts on social media? Because I know that a lot of people view it as an amazing tool, and a lot of people can sometimes view it as a distraction in the ballet studio.
Okay, I guess I'll start with the positives then.
Yeah.
My Instagram basically kicked off while I was still living in New York and going to Ellison Ballet. So that's, I guess, where most of my followers came from. And I don't know how many of them remained when I was at Dutch National, but my account in junior company probably peaked. And then for the past 3 years, it's like dropped tremendously. But it's also because I don't put so much work into it anymore, because I did have this kind of like realization that like social media isn't everything, and you kind of have to live your life around you before it passes by, which is so important. But then also there is a balance, because some of the opportunities I've gotten from social media have been insane. Like one of my favorite memories, and it just happened to be in Paris, which is another favorite city, was shooting for the Huawei P20 Pro. And we did this big campaign for like a whole week in Paris, shooting with Helena Christensen, who's like a Victoria's Secret angel, and she's just like a really amazing person too, actually. So that was one thing. And then working on the High Strung free dance movie was another thing that came out of it. And like so many things in between, like shooting for Discount Dance Supply and meeting all of them. And I mean, they've been family to me for the last 8 years. They took care of me since day one when I was 15 years old. Like, and then other positives, a big reason that I love to use social media is because I have so many friends and family around the world. And like literally these days, I think by the end of the day, I've messaged like 40 or 50 different people during
Sure.
that day, which is crazy. But I love people so much, and I'm considering maybe going into like sociology or something when I'm older because I love people. But just like getting to stay in touch with all those people and like tell my aunts in California how I'm doing or stay in touch. I have one aunt that has a house in Hawaii, and we've been like staying in touch all the time because she loves outdoor sports, and we've just recently connected over the past couple of years only because of Facebook Messenger, which is so
Wow,
cool.
that is really
And
cool.
yeah, her brother is actually my grandfather, and he passed away when I was 13. And he was like my best friend growing up. So that was really hard. But to be able to connect with her and his other siblings, it's been so cool. That's my biggest love for social media is connecting with all these people that you have to, because as ballet dancers, we have to leave everybody all the time. Like, I'm going to go to a new ballet company in a couple weeks, and I have to leave all my friends here. And that sucks. That's so sad.
It is
But
hard,
we do it
yeah.
every couple of years, you know? And staying in touch over social media, it's kind of the only way to keep updated with people. Um,
Absolutely. I think it's true. I mean, also, like, for me personally, some of the people who I hold closest to my heart are geographically the furthest away. It's true. And
yeah.
someone quickly wrote in here, oh, well, thank you so much. They said they really liked the live. I so appreciate that. For those who are watching this now, I do want to just quickly put a side note because we've got a few more minutes and I want to keep talking with Melissa. But this entire episode is being recorded and you guys will be able to watch it in a couple days' time on my YouTube channel. The whole thing start to finish. And if you guys want to find out more about Melissa, all of her details and information are also on allieetoile.com in the news section. So without any further delay, we've only got a few more minutes. So I want to talk about a couple more things before we sign off of here. This is something that I've been asking everyone who's been on this live series with me is, obviously there's a lot of, this, we've been in the ballet world now for a significant amount of time. There's a lot of stigmas and stereotypes, and hopefully when we come out of this coronavirus, world quarantine isolation business, hopefully people will have a greater appreciation for being able to do what we do, and just life in general. And so what is one thing that you would love to see change within the ballet world when we come out of this?
Ooh, what's the biggest thing that I would like to see change? Um, I guess something right off the top of my head that I would love to see is people just being more grateful for what we do, like
Okay.
dancers. If there could be like more positivity in the studios and like being happy to perform because we know how lucky we are that we get to be here. I would love if people were more positive because I think people can get so negative and so greedy in this career, and it's really exhausting to be around. And I'm definitely not one of those people most of the time. I mean, we all have our off days, but if people came out with a brighter look on life, it would be more enjoyable for everyone, and most importantly, including themselves. So that would be nice to see.
Absolutely. And I think that's a wonderful, wonderful thing to inspire in the ballet community. And of course, there's one thing kind of related to that. What is one thing that you would love to be able to inspire others, like a parting message? You've come so far in your career already. You've had some amazing opportunities and you've definitely earned all of them. That goes without saying. And so for those dancers who are in a position similar to yours or are hoping to be in that place at some point in their career, what is a piece of parting wisdom you can share with them?
Um, I want to say to people that they should just use all of their resources and connect with people as much as you can, because I don't like the idea that people higher up are untouchables. In fact, everyone that I meet that's a student or in school or having a difficult time, or I meet at an audition and they're 17 years old, like, I want to help everybody as much as I can from the bottom of my heart, because this career is so hard and it really does take a village to help you. I mean, my village is all over the world, and thank God to all of my friends that ever watch this for helping me through all of this so far, and my teachers and family, of course. But yeah, I just wish that people would be more open with other dancers, because if you're open with each other, you learn so much more and you can get answers quicker than being sneaky and kind of fake. It doesn't work in this art form, I think.
Absolutely. I think that's wonderful. I mean, I am so blessed to be in a position where I have some experience under my belt. I've lived through some things, and I'm happy, when I come home to my trainer in my school, my studio, I'm able to talk to the students there. And of course, being, I'm 22. I've had a few seasons under my belt, but also I have amazing principal dancers and soloists who have a few years on me, and being able to talk to them, because obviously I want to be in a position like they are at some point in my career, and being able to have that camaraderie, whether it's people above you, beside you, or hoping to be where you are at some point, I think that it's inspiring. So I love that. And, everything you had just mentioned, I think it's so relevant. I think it's so necessary to make those lines of communication, regardless of what the topic may be. I think it's important to open those things, because we're people too. We have thoughts, we have feelings, and I think it's something that this whole art form could definitely improve on in regards to communicating with them. And, Melissa, you have done a fabulous job communicating that today. I'm inspired. There's so many amazing things I've been able to learn about you through this. Hopefully everyone watching feels the same. And so I want to thank you for being part of this. This has been so much fun.
Oh, thank you for hosting. I'm so glad you can get everyone's opinions and spread them around and share the intelligence. It's so important. It's so important.
Absolutely. It's been fun. It's been a learning process, and I hope that for whoever is being able to watch this, they're able to have a little bit of a takeaway. And if not, it's an hour of conversation, an hour of entertainment. So that's the way.
Anyone watching is always welcome to reach out to me with any questions. I love helping people and answering, so I'm always here.
Absolutely, definitely. For those, again, I want to thank everyone who's watching and has been part of Conversations with allieetoile so far. It has been so much fun. A big, big thank you to Melissa, and for you guys out there who want to learn more about her or be able to follow her new journey as she heads to Munich, hopefully very soon. You guys can find out all of that information and more about Melissa on allieetoile.com in the news section. And again, stay tuned, because this recording is going to be on my YouTube channel very soon. I'll send that to Melissa as well. And I want to thank Melissa again. I don't know if you guys saw on her Instagram and on mine, she challenged me to the lovely Arabesque challenge. That was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. I nearly rolled my ankle a few times doing that in the grass. That probably wasn't the best idea, but I thought the sunset was pretty, and I was like, we'll do it for the gram. All right, Melissa, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. I want to send so much love and healthy vibes to you. Stay safe.
Well, you as well. It was nice to speak with you again.
Absolutely. Take care, you guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks.